Today we're going to be looking at the Kershaw Amphibian. For those of you who aren't familiar with this, this is a stainless steel knife made of 420J2 steel. Initially, my impression was this is a pretty nice knife. It comes with a Kydex sheath, and it also comes with the straps to go through here in the sheath. Now this is intended as a diving knife. However, it can be used for other purposes as well. But this knife particularly excels in environments where it's wet and there's a high chance that the knife can get corroded. This knife, however, doesn't have that problem as much. The nice thing about the 420J2 steel is that it's highly corrosion resistant. The downside to it being that the blade is not going to maintain an edge as long as some of the carbon steel. Don't get me wrong, great knife, and my buddy actually was testing it out and shaved a nice bald patch out of his arm with it. So it comes very sharp out of the box. My initial impression, I was pretty impressed at how lightweight this knife is. I was a little concerned with the polymer insert. However, it actually is all pretty much one solid piece. The other nice thing that I like is that they actually have jimping on the inside in here. Let me see if you can see that. There we go. On both sides, so you can actually get a good grip on it, regardless of how you like to hold it. The other thing I liked about it is that while it does have a double edge on each side, it also has a serrated edge, which is going to help for if you need to cut through line, rope, things like that, that you're not going to be able to do as well with a regular blade edge. As far as price goes, the Kershaw Amphibian will usually range from about $40 to $55 in price, depending on where you look and where you find it. It's not going to be the biggest bang for the buck if you're looking for a knife that's going to hold an edge for a long time. Like I said, for that you're really going to want a carbon steel knife. However, where this does shine, like I said, is where the environment is prone to causing knives to rust. So areas where there's a lot of humidity, where you're working with water, you're working with liquid in general, that's really where this knife is going to excel and shine. Since it is 420J2 steel, and like I said, the knife edge will actually dull faster in the stainless steel knives than in the carbon steel knives, it will take an edge faster, so it wouldn't really be ideal for, say, a combat situation. However, it would be a great utility knife for if you're going to go camping, fishing, anything like that where you do risk needing to have a knife that is corrosion resistant. So let's go take this out and we'll see just how well the actual blade edge does. So while the 420J2 steel affords more corrosion resistance, we still want to test out the actual ability to cut, since that is going to be the weakness of this blade. So here we've got a leather jacket clamped to some corkboard, clamped to a ladder just for some support. Obviously, with this knife, it's going to penetrate no problem. That's not really an issue. Went in nice and clean. That's going to happen with any sharp pointy object. The real test is whether or not this edge is going to hold up well enough that you can repeatedly cut with it without it becoming increasingly difficult with more cuts. Let's get to it. So let me kind of zoom in on the camera here and we'll show you what's going on. So this is our first cut here. As you can see, it went through a little there, there, kind of scraped there, and cut through there. Let's take a look at the corkboard behind it. No real damage to the corkboard that I can see. So it'll go through a leather jacket, but it may not actually get to someone if you're trying to use this in a self-defense situation. If we look at the actual puncture here, I'm pretty sure if we remove this, yeah, there's our puncture right there. Let's try with a little bit more force. Now we're going to try it with a little bit more force behind this. So we've got one cut here, another cut here. We'll look around to the back here. Yeah, it actually did. Right in there. So as we look at the back here, it did actually go through. Can't really see very well. But then it also, right there. Any other marks? No? No, wait. Got one there and one there. So, based on the test so far, this will go through a leather jacket without any real issues. However, it's questionable as to whether or not you'll do any real damage on the other end once you've actually made it through the jacket. So while this may not be anything worth using for combat or self-defense, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be a bad option for a nice utility knife if you don't want the knife to get rusty if you leave it out or forget to clean it, forget to properly store it, keep it from the humidity and the moisture. One other thing we haven't tested though is the serrated edge. Now for a utility knife that's going to actually be key since that's going to help cut through the material better. So let's see how that does. I'm just going to puncture in here and then, yeah, no real issues. There's a nice jagged hole. Let's try it from up here. Yeah. So the serrated edge works just fine. A little dirty from the jacket, but I don't see why it wouldn't be a bad little knife. Still cuts nicely. You can tell the edge is getting a little bit more dull with each blow. Not progressively worse, but still, I can still cut on the non-serrated edge and cut through the jacket. It's a little more challenging, but still doable. So not a bad little knife. Obviously, you're going to want a sharpener around if you plan to use it for any extended period of time, just because that edge is going to wear down faster than on other knives. The serrated edge does a good job in my opinion. It cut through the leather jacket without any real issues. Puncture test, obviously not a problem. I mean, they're dead if you do that. However, really, the focus of this knife isn't so much combat as it is utility. I would not hesitate to use a knife like this in a situation where I would worry about the knife getting rusty, getting any sort of liquid on it. This one's probably going to be a good option for me if I'm going to be working with a lot of liquid or in a wet area. And I don't want to have to constantly be checking my pockets. Where did I leave my knife? Did I accidentally leave it? You know, did it fall out in a pool of water? Who knows? That's where this Kershaw Amphibian is really going to shine. Not so much in the combat portion, but as a nice utility knife that's going to get the job done. Yeah, the edge is going to wear down faster, But overall, I don't think it's really going to be an issue. So, thanks for watching. This is Destroyer, signing off.